Well, good morning, everyone. The weather outside is beautiful, but it's a great investment of your time to learn more about the provisions across the business school. So I think this is a good choice for you. And as Caroline says, today I'm going to just introduce you to our new digital business and innovation degree. And I suppose this is in the context of continued success in the business school. Those of you who've attended some of the talks will know this, that DCU Business School, AACSB accredited, top 5% of business schools in the world. And obviously the university as well, DCU awarded Sunday Times University of the Year 2021. And it particularly called out navigating the COVID fog and student centeredness. So that's something we're very proud of and something that we're building on. So with this program, it's part of this DCU Futures initiative. So I just wanted to give you a bit of context. And as much as we might like to give out about government for many things, one thing they have been very good at is investment in education and building for the future. So DCU were very successful in putting together a pitch for what's become DCU Futures, which is essentially a €10 million investment to transform and improve the way we deliver education. So as you'll see there, there's just a detail there from the Irish Times critiquing education across the board, and this is true of all countries, not just Ireland, about building skills for the future. So this is where the new provision lands in terms of DCU futures and investing in our future. And there's a few sort of call out points before I get into the details of the program. And you'll see these commonalities across the business degrees that you've heard about. So we're building and extending the great success and innovation that already happens in the school. Things that have been called out for DCU Futures include deep engagement with industry. So what we're trying to do with this degree is have touch points with industry every single year of the program. So DCU is renowned and has had fantastic success with its work placement in third year, the intro program, where you go out to experience real business. But what we're trying to do is also systematically embed opportunities for you to engage and learn from and challenge industry right from day one. So that's something that has happened in DCU, but it's something that we're sort of really calling out and trying to make systematic. Peter probably would have touched on this with Mint, and it's common again for our programs, but it's to shake up the learning experience and move away from sort of the idea of a semester, 2 hours a week, 12 weeks, and to say, look, let's put a challenge in front of you. You have a day to work on it, and then you present back the next day. So we're moving to plug and play learning as well, where you can sort of curated learning, more autonomous learning. So there's innovations happening across the board in terms of how things are delivered, which is hugely exciting for us. And with this program in particular, there's a focus, and I'll get to this at the end of the presentation, on transversal skills. So skills that you need not simply for today, but skills for the future. So learning how to learn, learning how to future-proof yourself. And this might not seem novel now, but in the context of going forward, it is that 15% at least of this degree will be delivered fully online. So while we've done really well in a sort of ad hoc way with COVID, this is going to be designed with that in mind. So I'm going to fly through why might someone be interested in this course? Well, there's opportunities out there. We know as already the amount of connected devices, and if you count the number of devices around you at the moment or in your household, we're already past the stage where there's 7 times more devices than people on the planet. So massive potential, and that's only going to grow going forward. We know also about the extent of data being produced from multiple means. And of course, big data isn't big knowledge. So there's an opportunity there in terms of what you do with that data capture, and the means by which you even collect it, and then the means by which you analyze it and understand it in the context of business. I was trying to sort of think of an example to sort of, and you probably have much better ones than me to capture sort of the interlinkages and convergence of industries. But I went with a fridge example here because look at the description of this fridge. Wi-Fi enabled touchscreen so you can connect with your family and friends. Food management cameras, fair enough. Okay, there's something connected to food. Write notes and draw pictures on the touchscreen. Stream music and radio, mirror your TV. And then it gets into sort of what you might expect of a fridge. And this, I suppose, exemplar of the convergence of industry and the power of tech. And this is what we're seeing across the board, where digital is seamless, it's everywhere, and it's being integrated in smart ways and perhaps not smart ways into various devices. So this program is at the intersection of those opportunities. And what we see as well, the more organizations that are using digital, and this is from McKinsey, only came out a few days ago, the more successful they are. That said, there's also challenges in this space. And Ireland as well, just to think about our national capability, an Ireland of things, and leveraging the potential for national ability. That said, there are challenges. So this report from Bearing Point, a wake-up call. The potential is there, but we're not leveraging it. Irish businesses have far from reached maturity. So there's leaders and laggards, and organizations are struggling here. So this is where opportunity also arises. CEOs are worried about the skills required for the future. It's a top concern. And particularly around digital, 70% of CEOs believe that, yeah, tech is going to transform our business. 90% do not feel they have the right leadership or technical skills to adapt. So we know the train is coming at us, but we haven't got the capability maybe to move out of the way or to avoid the challenge. So this for us presents the opportunity for future graduates, because if you look at any job postings across the moment, it's all about digital skills, analytics, and this is the basis of this provision. So what does this program look like? And I suppose a caveat, it is close to being accredited. It's under development. We're engaging with industry. We're enacting and changing all the time. But these are the objectives: understanding that technologies, and particularly their business impact. So this isn't a sort of a computer science technical course. This is a course to say, what's the potential here? What does this technology actually do? And how does this help or hinder an organization strategy, or what we're trying to achieve for the benefit of the organization or for society? Practical knowledge in applying the digital tools to a range of contexts. So we think digital, we think multinational, we think Google, we think all these type of firms, but Indigenous Irish firms, small firms, growing firms, they all have the different challenges to wrestle with. So what does the practical challenges of each business look like, and what practical skills can we get you to learn and apply to help those businesses? As well as digital fluency, if you like, a focus is going to be on creativity and innovation and mindsets. And that's thinking differently, looking at different ways of designing technology. So particularly around design thinking, sprints, nano challenges with organizations. So different modes of learning, and that links with our different modes of teaching. And ultimately, I suppose, the knowledge to support and develop future digital transformation. So to see these opportunities and use them in terms of future development. So again, I'll sort of give you a whistle-stop tour, if I can say that word, of the content. And then I'll do a deep dive on some of our rationale around it. And hopefully that will tee it up for some questions then. We've come up with a logic for this program. And the first year is foresight. So learning about the potential of technology and how it might shape the future. And particularly on the digital business side of things, we've got digital business ecosystems. So understand the different actors, what's going on in the environment, what the key drivers are. Digital business tools, what are and what is out there in terms of virtual reality, AI, machine learning, analytics. And we're having some great conversations with industry on how they can help us open the door to the possibilities of what's out there, and maybe come in right at the beginning and show you what they're doing as organizations. So partners on the Futures project include Intel, Microsoft, Accenture, and they're all organizations we're working with at the minute. Critical skills is there. And obviously there's foundational skills in terms of accounting, economics. So putting the sort of rigor behind some of those business decisions. Moving into second year then, we're saying insight. Well, okay, so we understand the potential of technology going forward. What does it actually mean? And here we've got things like Innovators Toolkit. So a really innovative new module whereby you're looking at the different modes of creating new products and services, design thinking, digital business models. So how businesses can capture value. What are the different platform strategies, AI strategies, VR strategies, virtual reality strategies that organizations can grapple with? And again, on the technical side, we'll have digital labs. So that's a case of maybe not understanding the very specific and technical detail of coding, but understanding broadly the coding language and the opportunities that are out there and the various coding technologies. And again, we'll do a lot of engagement with industry there. An interesting module that we've called out, which is new for this degree and I think very novel in the Irish context, is a module on failure. So we talk all the time about learning from failure, and when we've engaged with organizations, they say a reoccurring theme is a fear of failure. Well, let's get rid of that fear and just embrace and engage it. So let's learn about institutional failure, political failure, failure in sports, failure in teams, project failures, and critically, what can we learn from them? How do we foster resilience? So an interesting new module there in terms of failure. We've got digital marketing, and again, throughout these, and I'll come back to this, we've got specific modules on building individual capability. So year three will be the work placement, which again is a fantastic opportunity for you to put these ideas into practice. At the end of second year, using this Transform Yourself module, we're going to prepare you for that work placement. So take some time to say, what are you trying to learn? How are you going to reflect? How are you going to capture your learning? And then once you come back from your work placement, you're moving into what we call action. So as a final year, then you have the foresight, you have the insight. Your first year of action is the work placement, and then final year, challenge-based project. So organizations are going to put together a project for us, a digital challenge, either maybe it's from one of their clients or it's something they're confronting in their business. And we're going to work in interdisciplinary teams with industry mentors and academic mentors to apply everything we've learned to a real business situation. So really exciting in terms of that engagement with industry throughout the program again, and it sort of culminates in this final year module. Digital business leadership and change. So how do we go into an organization and actually understand the need and the dynamics of change? Conscious innovation. So it's an undercurrent to everything we do, but ethics and sustainability and innovation for whom and for what cause and what's driving technology, and maybe standing back and asking some critical questions around the purpose, the consequences and the unintended consequences. And a recurring module that crops up and is critical also is analytics. So I realize I've gone through that quite fast. So if I just pull out the two aspects of this program that I think are sort of the calling cards, if you like, and they balance what we call the digital quotient and the human quotient. So in the digital quotient, just to call these out for you, year one foresight, it's digital business ecosystems and digital business tools, and you're getting that analytic provision. So understanding the potential of the technology, what's available, what the future might look like. Second year, as I mentioned, into insight. So what this means for business, how we can apply these in terms of our digital labs, how we can learn from failure. And then moving into our third and fourth year is the theme of action. So let's go on our work placement. Let's be prepared for our work placement. Challenge-based learning facilitated with industry and that digital leadership and change. So we feel with this sort of, and each year balances technical know-how, so via our tools and our labs, with business know-how in the digital sense, whereby we're looking to create translators. So the more we talk to organizations, the more they're saying we need people that can bridge the gap and sometimes the very different cultures between what the business requires and maybe what the engineering and software people are doing. So the potential to link those two for the good of business and innovation. So if that's our digital quotient, we are also are going to focus on the human quotient. And you'll be aware of sort of the critique that digital in and of itself won't bring anything, that it's the people behind the technology and the reading and understanding of the technology. So this is something that is really new for us at DCU, and something we're particularly excited about. And this is the idea that we have modules focused on lifelong learning embedded through every year of the program. So transform yourself, year 1, self-awareness, learning how to learn, diversity and inclusion, modes of learning, navigating technology, time management, learning how to work in teams. So all these what we call life skills, they'll be really important for you in your degree, but they're something that you carry forward as you move beyond your degree. And again, the points, some of the quotes there on the side is that organizations require people to learn on the job. Certainly you'll have your parchment of your disciplinary expertise when you successfully graduate, but we're going to complement this with the ability to have those lifelong learning skills. So year 1, we'll have transform yourself, focused on self-awareness. Year 2, we're going to look at transform yourself in terms of personal agility. So again, team dynamics, how you balance exploitation and exploration, learning how to learn in different contexts, navigating that sort of technology business interface, digital detox. And at this stage, obviously, you'll be in the insight mode. So this module will complement how you're applying some of those ideas, but also think about what they mean for you. With this pathway, which goes through the program, we're going to have e-portfolios and transversal skills. So you're going to capture your learning throughout the program in a dynamic way. And with this Transform Yourself second year module, what we'll do is prepare you for your work placement. So give you the tools, the models and frameworks that will enable you to best leverage and benefit from that fantastic workplace experience that you will have with us. And then we bring you back for final year, and this is what's called Transform Yourself Future Proof. And that is going to say, first of all, let's all learn from our work experience. We know our students come back dramatically transformed. We're going to stand back and say, why is that the case? What's different? What additional skill sets do you have? What are the key strengths? Let's look at the learning across the room. What have you learned from different industries and sectors? And then we're going to look at modes of learning that enable you to think about, keep on developing and reskilling and upskilling, and how you map that for yourself and understand your own strengths and weaknesses. So these are the sort of the reoccurring themes: transversal skills, e-portfolio, virtual CV. So digital quotient, human quotient, two sort of undercurrents to the degree. And the idea with the cookie there is there's no recipe for success. There's no point in us giving you specific skills in and of themselves. We want to give you the ability to acquire skills, challenge your own skills, and learn how to learn and learn how to unlearn as futures require. And that's something that we've heard from businesses that we've talked to that they need for the future. So sort of a hallmark for us about this program. A brilliant thing about being involved in the business school, no matter what program you do in DCU, is we extend beyond the classroom. We move beyond the 2-hour lectures. So fantastic modules, the life module, looking at hackathon. Even we were able to do it virtually this year through GatherTown, and social causes, societal challenges, hackathons. What can we do to improve vaccine rollout? How do we deal with vaccine inequality? What are your ideas around this? So fantastic opportunities to work with industry, with mentors. We've engaged also with Dublin Startup Week. And I think really important for university, and no matter what course or university you're looking at, is to embed yourself in the ecosystem of the university. The friends you make and the contacts you make in university will be friends for life. And that's something maybe that's not captured in marks, and it doesn't matter, because they are contacts that carry with you as you finish. So engaging with the fantastic societies we have, business-related ones, Enactus, Enterprise Society, but also sport, music, gamification, whatever your interest, you will find something there, because you're going to enter a domain full of curious, interesting, and like-minded people. So loads of opportunity there to benefit from the university experience. Something we can even do virtually, maybe not to the same extent, but we've seen great successes this year with it. Coming to the end there, so I'm conscious I want to give time for the questions. I was talking to someone in Microsoft yesterday about this, and I was making the point, it's hard to say the future careers because things are moving so fast. And they were like, yeah, it's a brilliant point. We say it all the time. But things that we're looking at coming out of this degree, and obviously this will be the first year of the program, so we're looking 4 years out already, but digital business analyst, consultant, digital business lead, a translator, so marrying that tech with the business, entrepreneurship, intrapreneurship, so helping existing organizations innovate, setting up your own businesses, and then leveraging all that tech that's out there in terms of specialisms, and many more on that list that don't yet exist. So you'll have heard if you attended the talk today, absolutely brilliant track record in DCU, 98% plus of our graduates engaging with some of these fantastic organizations. Many graduates building linkages in their intra-placement, and that then offering them an opportunity to link with an organization when they're finished. Indeed, many of our students get offers from their intra-company to come back after their final year. So really huge opportunity there to make the most of that work placement. Yeah, so opportunities to stay connected, get further information. Just two further motivators. 40% of organizations will die if they don't engage with this transformation. That's our calling card. And just to put Ergo there as a nice example of an Irish organization, which recently sort of said that digital transformation is what got successful organizations through this COVID crisis in the last few years. So Caroline, I'll stop talking there because I can talk forever, and we'll see what questions we have.
Yeah, we've got a couple in. So the first one, I don't think we're going to have an answer to, but I'll call it out anyway. At what points do you think the course will require? We don't know the answer to that one.
No, look, I'm not even going to speculate. And as this is a first year program and it's new on the list, we expect, I suppose, it's in and around what the other business programs are, but I wouldn't be able to guess, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's hard. There's no crystal ball, and just so people listening understand, like, that is entirely set by demand. So that's not something that's going to become. We literally won't know the answer to that until all the applications and everyone has their points and everything like that come through.
That's those of you that are interested, and it's on your radar already, so fair play to you. This is maybe the chance to have a go, because we're only getting the messaging out there. It's only going to ramp up in demand as years go forward, but maybe there's a window of a first mover advantage for you.
That's a fair point. And I think actually, Brian, even looking at, compared to November and the Genesis, it's so exciting to see how this has come together and see all the different strands and what this program is going to entail. It looks absolutely fantastic. Will there be an option to study abroad instead of intra? I know that's probably a couple of years away yet for anyone that would actually start this in September, but do you think there will be that option for anybody instead of doing intra, that they spend a year abroad?
It's something, to be honest, we are looking at, and it is part of our development. But as you say, this program is really sort of, it's being finalized. So I would say we hope so, I suppose, is the best way to answer that question. Yeah.
And remember too, for let's say you're really interested in this course, but you are quite keen on study abroad. There are lots of ways to go abroad, even if it's not built into your degree. Like, it's not just a J1. There are lots of different ways and study trips that emerge occasionally, or ways to engage with another university, or just spend time abroad over the summer. Like, it is possible still outside of your curriculum to have international experiences.
Definitely, and we have very strong relationships with multiple partners as well, whereby we've got summer school options where students can get it's over and above, if you like, the core curriculum, but plenty of opportunities there. One particular one I'm thinking is the University of Ljubljana, which is just a fantastic, and there's 500 international students. So we can facilitate you in multiple ways in terms of international exposure. One thing I should say as well is that we're working at the moment with Babson in the US to sort of create virtual experiences as well, so that international exposure is built into the degree, in addition to sort of the opportunity to leave Ireland. Yeah,
that's fantastic. And for people listening who may not be aware, Babson is a fantastic business school based outside of Boston, and that is very focused on entrepreneurship and has a fantastic international reputation. I think we should just touch briefly, actually, Brian, before we get to our last question, we should touch a little bit on, I suppose, the different, because there's quite a bit of tech or analytics involved in this. Maybe the distinction is somebody's looking at, say, a data science type degree, or something within engineering or computer science, how this is different and where it sits in that spectrum between business and tech. Because I know even for the Mint degree, sometimes students will wonder how technical it is, and will want the reassurance that it's manageable. But I think it would be good to talk about, I suppose, where it sits in that spectrum.
Yeah, no, Caroline, it's a really great question. And I suppose just because this isn't a computer science or engineering degree, you're not going to get it under the hood in terms of in-depth insights, in terms of the coding. The way we've thought about it and the way we've worked with industry is you will get exposure to multiple ways of doing things, and we're going to draw on industry a lot for this. So certainly Python and everything that's out there you'll be aware of, but you won't necessarily have that sort of in-depth behind the scenes of how it works and what you need to do to code.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's acknowledging the possibility of the technical without necessarily doing and having to create the technical.
Doing the work, yeah, exactly. If you choose this course and it ends up not being the right one for you, is there a possibility of transferring to another business course with less tech?
Yeah, hopefully that's sort of the previous answer, maybe touching on that it's not too technical. I understand, Caroline, you're probably better placed for this, but there is opportunities once you come into the school to do transfer, particularly in first year where you're sort of getting exposure to modules. But as someone who's, and hands up myself, I'm not the tech person, and we've got fantastic tech people in the school, and we bring people along. I mean, I suppose we have experience with Mint and degrees like that, and we've got a international digital business research center as well, so .lab. So we're quite honed in terms of bringing people along and making sure that it's the right pace and speed. So yeah, there certainly there's possibility to sort of move things around, but I wouldn't think the tech piece, I wouldn't be too scared about the tech piece on this.
Yeah, and just to say, that does happen to students regardless of the course, that they decide, I think actually with hindsight I prefer that. So for example, it's quite flexible to transfer into our Bachelor of Business Studies course. There's quite a bit of flexibility in terms of transferring into that from any other degree within DCU Business School. So that is something that I hope would put that person's mind at rest. The last question here is about how many live teaching hours are anticipated as part of this degree, Brian?
Oh, that's a great question.
This is such a common one. Everyone wants to know exactly.
I mean,
I'm going to be in the classroom with this.
I can give you the credits and all that type of stuff. Look, I can't calculate that off the top of my head, but what I would say is the things like the digital, our new modules in terms of life critical thinking are designed in such a way that they're immersive learning experience. So they're not a 2-hour session, they're more extended. And likewise, with our digital tools and our digital business environment, it's sort of sprint-based learning, which I think is really, so one conversation we were having yesterday was right on day one to have a virtual reality challenge with Microsoft possibly, and sort of where they present a challenge and we get straight into the possibilities, and we might do that over a day with a presentation back in 2 days time. So the hours are the same, but the nature by which we get to the hours are different.
Yeah. And I think that's as you said, for Hackathon and for first year across all of our programs, that's something that it's important that students be aware of, is that it isn't a flat timetable necessarily that will be delivered in a completely linear way across 12 weeks. That because you have such interesting options like that, like sprints or hackathons, that they kind of condense things very briefly in a burst. And you get your credit that way from doing it, right?
Exactly. And with this degree as well, with the Transform Yourself modules that I talked about, there's elements there where that's curated online. So there'll be self-assessment tests, and we'll introduce you to various tools as a pathway. So that is a little bit more autonomous learning in terms of you're taking the initiative. You'll have a deadline to deliver it, but you'll be doing it on your own time, if you like.
Yeah.
Facilitated by us, which
is so exciting, I think, and it's such a break from leaving cert as well for the people that are going to be on the line here that are in 5th or 6th year. It's such a different way of thinking about learning, which is brilliant.
Yeah, look, I'm really old, obviously, but I'd love to go back and do any of our courses.
I
Maybe not
know.
accounting and finance, nothing to do with accounting and finance, simply my interest in accounting and finance. But there's so many exciting things going on, and DCU is we're innovative, dynamic. It's an exciting time, an exciting place.
There's just one last one, Brian, that's just come through, but I do think it's worth taking live because it's an important point. Somebody just asked, can we explain sprints and hackathons? We forget that not everybody is doing them all the time, but could you explain what a sprint is or a hackathon is?
Yeah, so I suppose a sprint is it's from design thinking, so it's a compressed learning opportunity. So rather than sort of saying we do a topic 2 hours every week, we say, right, we've got 4 hours and we run you through a template, and you're going to have to design something really quick, prototype it, come up with a very quick pilot, get feedback, react, change, maybe build something, draw something. So they're really to get the creative juices flowing, but more importantly, they replicate the conditions of industry.
Yeah.
So your manager in a job might say to you, Brian, I need this tomorrow. So it's to replicate that sort of pressure and intensity.
Particularly the way the tech companies work, where they roll out their minimum viable product, and then they iterate and they get it out quick, and they look at it and they test it and they collaborate together across multiple teams. I suppose this is what the sprints and the hackathons train people for.
Yeah, and a hackathon, I mean, it aligns with that, if you like. It's sort of the same way, and it's the idea that you have a big challenge or idea that you try and break down, and you're working maybe with multidisciplinary teams or different people to come up with a novel solution for something, or to unpack or deconstruct something.
Yeah.